Hello, lovely people. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. I want to make sure that I am live on Facebook and YouTube because yesterday, for some reason, my stream didn't go to Facebook. So I apologize for that for the people that are coming from Facebook. Now I'm able to stream on Facebook and YouTube, so I'm super excited to expand. That being said, let us pray. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this wonderful day. Thank you for all the blessings that you have given us. Thank you for all of our needs that you constantly provide for us. Thank you for giving us the means to exist and to have community all over the world. I'm so grateful to be able to connect with people and share your message with them. Please continue to lead and guide us and help us forgive those that trespass against us. Help us forgive them. Help us walk in love and become the best versions of ourselves possible. In your name we pray. Elohim, amen. So, today is Humanity Day. Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To humanity, send your angel of holy work. We have definitely talked about that before and how getting humans to awaken to their holy work and their divinity is going to help all of us. It helps us become better. It helps us become more loving and peaceful. It helps us become a brighter light in this dark world. Knowing what we're here for and our holy work is so helpful as well when we're going through different trials and tribulations, so that we have that light at the end of the tunnel to push back against all of the attacks and the negative influence that wants us to stop and give up, all of these dark forces that want us to fail, to be depressed, and to sink further down the golden ladder of being. So I definitely encourage people to spend time and find what your holy work is, and then we can also encourage those around us to also find their holy work. It can be really depressing when when you're doing your holy work, but even more depressing and sad in this world is when you don't know your holy work and you think that you are here to do your 9 to 5 and that life essentially is meaningless, that it doesn't matter, that, after death, it's just the end. That can be really, really sad and drag people down. So it's really important, again, to find our holy work and try to help others do the same. My book is flapping open. So, that being said, hello, David D. God and Goddess are good parents. They never turn their backs on us. So all have access to salvation. Exactly. So the first thing, like David is talking about, actually, I wanted to mention salvation, talk about the 3 forms of salvation, which we have mentioned before. If you have the Holy Megillah, this is going to be from, oops, I gotta take the chat one off first. There we go. The Holy Megillah Nazarean Bible of the Essene Way. This is from the Nasarean book of Genesis. In the description should be a link to the Essene.org website where you are able to purchase the Megillah. There's also a version online, a PDF version online for free if you're interested. But that being said, I wanted to first briefly talk about the forms of salvation because we've already been through it before. But yesterday in the stream, and maybe a few days prior to as well, we've been talking about the deep sleep, and I wanted to actually read to you the scripture about what happens to those that do fall into the deep sleep. So before that, we'll start with the first form of salvation. Like I said, this is from the book of Genesis 15, and the whole passage is like 267 to 309, but I'm just going to show you, mention the brief parts because we've already talked about this before. So the first form of salvation is continued existence within the mother ovum without the guidance of Elohim. This is a form of salvation because were it not for the grace of Jaja, these beings would cease to exist. So basically, instead of ceasing to exist, they get continued existence in the mother ovum. But the placement is without the guidance of Elohim because they reject the hand of mercy. Basically, they don't get the hand of mercy when they are coming back in. So their incarnation or reincarnation is going to be into a darker world instead of a lighter one. The second form of salvation is continued existence in the mother ovum according to the placement of Elohim. So this is even the people that are in mainstream Christianity, those that don't necessarily know the complete way, but they have faith in God. They believe that, God exists, and they accept that hand of mercy in whatever way. Different religions have their own ways, but ultimately there is a creator and different ways of them having faith essentially and believing that they're going to be saved. So their reincarnation, their placement in the next time around is going to be in a brighter world as opposed to a darker one. But it's still not going to be the brightest world because they haven't fully aligned to their true holy work and the way of Elohim, Yahweh. The third form of salvation is for those that accept the hand of mercy and follow that path the full way, all the way into twinship and that divine union with God and Goddess, becoming the hands and mercy. The idea being of the whole existence is that this is a cosmic school and we are climbing up the golden ladder, hopefully, right? There are souls that are ascending and souls that are descending. But when you take the hand of mercy and you continue to do the right things and you climb up and up and up, getting to heaven most high, that is the graduation from the ovum, right? But as we've read before, once you get up there, then you hear the heartbeat, the question, who will go? Now that you have attained this, now that you have become you've got up to the highest heavens, will you leave this perfect heavenly abode and go down below and help those that are still suffering, that have lost their way? Will you be the light in the darkness? And that is what so many of us are here for. I know that the people that find my channel, it's not just by chance. We're all here for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And we're on this journey together. It's really beautiful. So that is just briefly the forms of salvation. So I wanted to flip to the Holy Godspell, chapter 39, which I actually want to read. We're not going to read these all today, but chapter 39 is the scroll of John the Baptizer, and there are selected sayings in here. Some really, really good stuff. And I mean, the whole book has really good stuff. In previous Sunday church sermons, whatever you want to say, we've read pretty much all the way up to the Holy Godspell. Those videos have been temporarily removed just because I want to protect my channel from getting banned from copyright strikes, which actually aren't coming from, I'll just take a detour really quick to say that the copyright issues at this point are not coming from the translator. The translator actually sent me a message after watching not my last video, but the video before where I was talking about all this stuff, and said the terms of the agreement that we have are, one, that I put the info about the translator and where the book is available when I excerpt from it. Two, anytime I change or add words, that I make that clear. And three, the title of my platform not just be the Holy Megillah, which was on Instagram. I just picked up the Holy Megillah as a handle because it wasn't being used. And I wanted just something that would only be for those verses and memes, whatever. So the title of your platform not just be the Holy Megillah, but something a bit broader like Holy Megillah Study Group or whatever. So he actually also wrote a little excerpt that I could send to Instagram to try to get my channel reinstated. The problem is actually coming from the accuser, who will not listen to the requests of the translator to retract the copyright claims, and has lied about it, and basically just wanted me to say that this person is not, the accuser is not controlling the translator, and that all the problem at this point is coming from the accuser, just so that everybody knows all of that. And I want to put the drama behind me, but I just wanted to let you know about the agreement that was reached. And I'm really happy with that. So hopefully I am able to preach without being harassed. So cool. Let's move on. This is, like I was saying, from the quotes or the teachings of John the Baptist, because it's a little bit more than just kind of quotes at that point. But I'm going to start in chapter 39, verse 139. It says, all acts of disobedience to divine will result in pain and degradation. Hopefully I don't cover up the speakers here. The pain may not be immediate. The degradation is immediate. The degradation of a being is always coupled with contraction of spiritual awareness. With contraction of spiritual awareness comes decreased abilities as a spiritual being. You, I'm sure, know that we are so powerful in our unchained form, thinking about the telekinesis and being able to just the different superpowers that we know that humans are capable of, that we have lost over time because we're not acting in accordance to divine will. With contraction of spiritual awareness comes decreased abilities as a spiritual being. Unless such a being repents in true contrition, that being may fall into the deep sleep. Any act of disobedience to divine will is doomed to eventual defeat in dissolution. Discordant, inharmonious vibrations eventually dissipate or become the fuel of the next purifying explosion of a black pit. Each pit that does not reverse its spin and resurrect before the deep sleep will suffer the consequence. That consequence is the natural conclusion to a contracting spiral of inharmonious vibration in Yah, the purifying fire of creative explosion. Each vibration is a spiral, either ascending into greater light or descending into darkness and disillusion. But even those of the deep sleep are again reborn. They are the living manure of the next garden. They begin again at the new beginning in the aftermath of the explosion. The aftermath of the explosion provides another chance for ascension to the degraded being, beginning as the raw material that emerges from the great explosion at the dawn of a new cycle. The beings who do not fall into the deep sleep ascend to higher heavens rather than repeat the lessons of this school. Those ascended beings take their heavenly forms, even the memories within those forms, into the highest heavens. You retain your memory and you keep going up and up and up. Those who fall into the deep sleep and the great explosion begin at square one without their memories. Wherefore, the downside for those of the deep sleep and great explosion is that though they be reborn in a new garden at the dawn of a new cycle, they take not their memories with them. Those memories perish in the fire of the explosion. So like you're going through this cycle of life, this school, this learning of lessons, and you can either continue to rise and accumulate all of that knowledge and all of the spiritual awareness and the power, the abilities that come with that. Or you can keep falling down into these dark pits of depression and sorrow and guilt and unconsciousness until you literally can't even you can't even animate a bug. That's how low you have your soul has become. Um, One of the reasons that I wanted to read that is because, as sad as it is that these souls do fall, I really love the hope that it gives. I'm coming from a mainstream Christian background where it's basically like one and done life. You either go to heaven or you go to hell, and that's like it's just an eternal. That's it, right? This is like just so beautiful because it's saying, no matter how far down, these souls still get to come back and try again. So it's always this constant universal salvation and moving towards gradual salvation for all beings. And I just think that is so beautiful. We should definitely not take advantage of that and allow ourselves, say, oh, well, whatever, let me just fall down into these deep dark pits and whatever and enjoy, because right, these satanic parasites try to make us think that all of these evils that they want us to participate in are enjoyments and things that are going to give us pleasure, but these things literally are chains around our neck. They drag us down, and the pleasure is fleeting. It's a temporary cover of the true lack inside of that divine connection and purpose. And we're just trying to like fill holes. That's all that, pornography, drugs, all of the pleasures of the world are just trying to seek to fill those holes that really will only come from the connection to the divine and finding our holy path. So one of these things was, do not chain yourself to small evils, for they are stepping stones to greater evils. I love that. But yeah, we should definitely not take advantage of the fact that all the souls, no matter what, get universal salvation or get to come back. Because, like I was saying, you'll lose all of your memory, and that's not what the whole point is. The point is not to just fall into these, just let whatever happen. Yeah. Your soul's not going to be proud of you on the other side of this lifetime if you just allow that to happen and don't become something truly great. Because all of us have the power inside to become something truly remarkable. We all have the power to do what Christ did in even greater things. We just have to align with our holy work and make it happen. Hey, Kyle Whitman, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. The Israelite says YouTube allows the viewing of murdering and killing, yet will not allow criticizing of the killing and murders. Yeah, it's definitely very telling of everything, and in the way that they try to hide slaughter footage and all of that kind of stuff. These wicked doers will be punished beyond what their hands did to other innocent life, that the Creator commanded them to be in peace with all, to gain peace with all. Exactly. And we talked yesterday about the karmic, nature, and that justice will be served, and even more beautifully, that justice gives the nod to mercy and allow that Jah so loves Jala that he allows her to have the final say. Just giving that nod to love and mercy. Well, I shouldn't say love, because it's not. Well, it is love. I was going to say I shouldn't separate the two, but justice isn't the lack of love either. Justice is love. We can say, oh, well, getting punished for what I've done is, unloving. But if there weren't consequences for our actions, let's say against the animals, that would be unloving for the animals as well. And even further, a good parent is going to provide the proper discipline or consequences for their child, because that's how you learn and grow. And that's what's proper. There are consequences for our actions, and especially as parents, it's our kind of responsibility to teach that to children. I'm not going to get into a parenting thing, but like there are other ways of parenting that most of us were raised with very disciplinarian, but having natural consequences for children that align with what happens in the real world instead of unnatural ways. But anyways, Kyle Smith, how's it going? Wow, deep teachings. Yes, I absolutely love the teachings from the Megillah, and like I was saying, the hope that comes from understanding the truth of a reality in the divine plan. How the great freedom, the freedom of choice fits into that, and how it's part of the divine plan. If we weren't given freedom of choice, which ultimately allows us to do evil, we would just be essentially zombies, and that wouldn't be a beautiful creation. That wouldn't be the wisest way to create. So Kyle says, I used to be chained to gluttony. It felt like pressure, but never ended well. It's definitely something that I myself struggle with, gluttony. And something that's coming to mind is this article that I read on Facebook. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it was a true or not. I am not going to like put my neck on the line because I have no idea. But this 14-year-old had a near-death experience and basically met Christ and was taken to this room of screens and was able to see all of these lives right on the TV screens, and all of the people were looking at their phone, and the girl was shown these dark shadows essentially around the people on their phones, and how with every swipe this chain from their neck to their phone essentially got another link in that chain with every swipe. I was talking about how the people that were playing violent video games were, every time that they were doing that, these shadows would increase, and their violent tendencies and anger would increase, and their compassion would decrease, the light around them. So I like how you said chained as well, because that is exactly what it is. We're being chained to these evils, and they're presented as freedom and pleasure and joy, and that's not what it is. Scrolling isn't happiness, no matter how much we scroll. And so many times people are out there scrolling, and it's actually dragging them down and making them more depressed. They're comparing themselves to what they see on the television, these models, these bodybuilders, whatever, right? Because it's on both sides. It's on the male and female. And even further, they have influencers on both sides that are trying to drive this wedge between male and female and highlight the worst in both sexes, so that we end up hating each other. So it's really important that we become more aware of what we are chaining ourselves to, and try to cut off those chains. Less screen time, and I'm definitely preaching to myself, and less time around the things that we know that we shouldn't be around as much as possible, right? Because we're in this world, we're trying to be in it, not of it, but it's a constant having to interact with coworkers and people, and like even in the store, having to listen to the music that they're playing, and just different factors that we can't always get away from. But taking those steps to try to unchain ourselves and find inner peace and control of these demonic influences that are around us, it's really, really important. The Israelite says the Catholic Christians do not talk about purgatory for sin and is a temporal punishment. Yeah, there's definitely the hells of our own making, and we'll have to talk more in the future about the Megillah, heaven and hell, but they are also vibrations and places that we can either be in right here and now. We're either in these upper heavenly realms, or we're in these lower hell realms, and all of our thoughts, our actions and stuff are either bringing us up into higher heavens or down into those lower hell realms. So it's really important to take heed. Hey Dave, how's it going? Dave says that's relieving to hear our memories stay with us as long as we continue to ascend little by little. These lifetimes of lessons are such hard work. I don't want to lose that progress, definitely. And it talks about even those that go up and how much of a sacrifice it is that we're coming down and having our memory wiped to come into these contested worlds. But it's really hopeful that even though we're doing that, we still get to go up and have all of that wisdom and knowledge accumulating. So yeah, beautiful comment. David D says hard to avoid screens while using social media to teach the way. Exactly. That is definitely true, but I also know that I have plenty of time that I spend scrolling, doom scrolling, and just doing things that aren't furthering my path of the way. They're just distractions and a waste of time. So I definitely want to be more intentional about it. And I wanted to share the actual the link to this post with you so that you could read it as well, because it is really, I guess I can't do it that way. It is a really powerful thing, and it talks about like essentially how long this how many hours this girl had spent in front of the screen herself, and it was like over a year of her life. And it would talk about how so many times Christ wanted to console her when she was sad or whatever, and instead of being embraced in that divine love and comfort, she reached for her phone instead. So it's a really cool cool message. I'm not sure. Let me try to see if I can share it on YouTube as well. That being said, this guy is going to be loud with his weed whacker, and it's getting really hot. So I am going to work. Okay. I think that should show all except Facebook. Okay, I think it looks like I commented on Facebook and on YouTube for you guys to get that link. Cool. So that being said, I'm just going to pull up the prayer just again because it is Humanity Day, and it is important to keep these things in our memory. And I want to leave people with a positive, uplifting thing to end on. So I hope you take some time today to about how you can foster peace with humanity and go out of your way to smile at people, to send them blessings when you walk by, to listen, to understand instead of reply, and just basic things that so many people don't do these days. I hope that you will take it upon yourself, be the light and be that change people really need in this world. You might be just one person, but you're one light, I'm one light. And look at, there's other people watching this too. So if we all just become that light, other people are going to be like, wow, why are you this way? And they're going to want to know. And then we can have an opportunity to share these great teachings, lead them to the fleshless diet, and ultimately up the golden ladder with us. That's why we're here. That's our holy work. So I encourage you to spend some time today to remember your holy work, find out what that is if you haven't, but also, becoming the hands and feet of Christ to help others find their holy work as well. And the goddess bless you.